Today I'm going to talk about the question, is Sabrina's Awakening worth the grind? And I had a thought for a while now because I want to get my account a step further, and I think a 4-star will do that. And so I want to share my thoughts on her and if she's worth it at the moment. And as you can see, when you look at my account, my Sabrina is just purple. So for a long time, I didn't think it was worth the grind. Before her Awakening, for sure not. And of course, partly that's also because I was always part of bigger kingdoms with like a lot of players, but also just because I didn't really bother and ended up like forgetting about a lot of lords. And so why would you want her? For those who don't know that yet, of course. The main factor is her 4-star ability, which gives 20k army size and 40k rally size passive, which is very, very good. I think army size is the best stat in the game, except maybe base attack at this point, but it's a very strong stat. And except that, there are of course some other smaller things. You get some very small amounts of health, defense, and attack for all troop types passive, which is quite good, although it's just 1.5%, so not a real difference. She also gives training and research speed and building speed, but nobody cares. Which is quite nice, especially training when you are doing some amount of training, when you are going for, let's say, your 1.5 billion. That's something that actually makes a big difference, and so that's worth it. She's also good in some L formations, maybe I can show some here. I don't use her personally, but I know people do and she's good at it. And lastly, there's of course her friendship. If it would load, yeah. She has 4 leadership and 3 combat rate in Tavern. And that's very good, having both and having 4 leadership, which is again army size actually, so even more army size. And so in general she's just the best, like one of the best like all-rounder passive stat wise. You will never use her in like PvP or any like fighting formation, but passively she's great, so having her 4-star will, even without like changing anything, will improve your account. And so what would that cost? That's the harder part. Of course you first need the 330 medals, and then you need the 600 tokens to 4-star, and she has a conversion ratio of 3:1, so you would need 1,800 more medals. And I've calculated a bit, and when you're just assuming like you get everything Sabrina you can get, you would get 1 times a month you get 50 from Lord of Lords, then you would get 10 from Best Effort, which is actually up for me now, and you would get another 25 from UT when you are in Diamond and get first like overall, which is like impossible of course when you don't have her, but it's so in theory you can, that's the point, you can get her max in 25 months. That's 2 years, and so yeah, that's not going to happen. To bring that further, even more realistic, let's say you rank in like the top 5 to 10, you get 25 medals from Lord of Lords, and let's say you get 5 from Best Effort, you are like rank 4 to 10, and of course you don't win UT, that's never going to happen. And so you get 25, like get 30 in total. That would mean that you would need 71 months, that's close to 6 years, so that's also not going to happen. There's an easier way. I know many already talked about that. That's the hunting strategy, which basically includes just jumping to servers where you know they are in the 6th phase, and then just like zeroing some players when they are unbubbled people, of course, and then you get into like the top 100, top 50, maybe even top 20 when there are some good targets. And that way, when you can get a lot of medals. I calculated that as well. When you assume you get 10 medals a day, which mean like you would have to get every day a good target on a new kingdom with Lord of Lords 6, which is kind of hard. But when you do that every single day, you would need 7 months, When you get 20 a day, which would mean an even higher ranking, you would need 3.5 months. So yeah, it takes some time. I think that's the best conclusion to that part. And now is the question, is it worth like doing for 7 months or maybe a bit less, but for half a year, every day fighting, or for 2 years full grind, or for 6 years just some decent playing the events? And I think the question is, it depends, of course. What else could it be? 20k army size is insane for high tier accounts, because there are not many other ways to get it. But for a regular player, it's not really worth the time. Like, it should be, in my opinion, like from what I think takes less time. Things you should do first, of course, like getting the castle to max, getting army size and refinement. I think that's the obvious things. But even things like the Maester rank, the last one in nobility, I think is less time consuming. And although of course it's restrictive in some way, you can't do PvP really, unless you're willing to spend a lot more on it. It's still less restrictive than you having to like attack for every single day. Of course, when you do that anyway, then go for it, like doing the hunting stuff. But just because of Sabrina, it's like a very like spending an hour or two if you get the targets, of course, just for that, and then you are never in a certain kingdom, and you can never compete in like KVK, or you have to move back then, and it's just a mess. Another thing I would do first is basically getting all the leadership commanders to maximum. It's even that is more worth it. It's not like insane value, but it's still like easier in a way than getting Sabrina to 4-star. Of course, to max leadership, you would need her 2-star, so you should passive grind her like anyway. And I would say for mid spenders, it's even more realistic to go for all the passive army size skins, castle skins. That's kind of a lot, and they cost quite a lot, at least for like someone who doesn't have a big budget. It should really just be like the last option, unless of course you're doing hunting anyway. Then of course you can say, okay, there are a lot of lots, then I will look a bit more there. For me personally, I will not do that. Like when I'm continuing to merit hunt, I will maybe start doing this again, but at the moment it's not really worth it for me. Maybe getting her to gold, of course, for just to max her in tavern, but like 4-starring is a whole nother level and will take a lot of time. And I think that's the best way to conclude this. Don't go for her unless you have nothing else to go for, basically army size wise. But of course, when you want to go for her, sure, do that, but don't expect fast results unless you're willing to spend lots and lots of time. That's it for this video. I hope I was able to clear out how hard it is to get Sabrina. And everyone who has her 4-star, I have to congratulate for the effort. See you in the next one. And sorry that I wasn't in the video last week. I was kind of busy and I put some guides on the official Discord, so check them out. And bye.